We'll build an app. I'm gonna skip ahead a couple. We're ultimately gonna build an app that's gonna look like this. A little bit of a spoiler, but I think it's gonna be fun. It's a little bit of a sort of a dashboard type app. Before we dive in, let's talk a little bit about inputs, outputs, just high level, and then we're gonna code. So inputs allow your user to input a value, very obviously, that will control those outputs in some way. One thing I really love, and this was kind of what I was talking about, I often use the RStudio website to code, is the Shiny Widgets gallery. So this is a selection of different kind of inputs you can use. So you can have a checkbox, and then if you hit C code, it'll show you how to implement a checkbox in an app. I really love the gallery. When I forget, this is where I end up. It's moving very slowly. Trust me, you can go see the code. And you could see there was a bunch of, there we go, there's the code. Here's what you do in the server. Here's what you do in the UI to create this exact thing. But there were a bunch of things here. There's a group of checkboxes so that you can select about a bunch of things. We're actually going to use one of these in our app. There's a date input. I like that the date input will pop up a calendar for you. Date ranges, same thing. You can input a file into a Shiny app. Then all sorts of things, numeric, radio, drop-down selectors, text. We're going to use a slider range. So we're going to use some of these, but there's a lot of different options for inputs. And when you create an input, you're going to put it in your UI with I'm using star input function. So things like text input, numeric input, checkbox input. You'll see that in a second. And then as far as outputs go, like I said, those are going to be created in the server. So if I wanted to just plot a histogram of the miles per gallon variable in the MT cars data set, I would create an output object, output $, I'm calling this one just plot. I might want a better name. Maybe MPG plot would be a much better name for this. I would use the render plot function. That's important. You're going to need the correct render function. And then inside of it, I just write the code I need. Then I would flip back to the UI. And in order for my users to actually see this output, I have to use the correct output function. So I would need to use plot output in the UI. So like I said, we're going to build this app. So let's start. As far as the way the GitHub repo is arranged, I'll kind of make a note here. I built it, obviously, as we work together now, I'm just going to build one app and we're going to continue to build on. If you want, though, I broke it up. Each step is in a different folder, and they have _1, _2, 3, etc. And you'll be able to see each step of what we're going to build. So we're going to start with the code that right now is in Tunisia app static, although I'm going to build it again. As far as this app we're going to build, I do have, there's these 6 packages you'll definitely need if you don't have them. So you'll need the Shiny package, Tidyverse, Read Excel, Shiny Themes, DT, and Plotly. I recently updated my copy of R on my computer, so I had to reinstall all of these in order to build this app. I think except Shiny, which comes installed. Also, hot tip, if you didn't know, you can install multiple packages inside of Vector. So if you needed Shiny Themes and Plotly, that'd be a good way to do it. I have all of those installed. Okay, I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna build, this is truly just a personal preference. I'm gonna build the app with 2 files, a UI and a server file separately. You can choose to do it differently if you'd like. I just like to have 2 files. That's a me thing. And there can definitely be good reasons for that. If you're going to build a really large app, you might want it in separate files just because of the number of lines of code you're going to have. All sorts of reasons. I'm also going to clear out some of this RStudio comment because I don't need it and it's not going to be relevant in a minute. Okay. So let's first, easiest thing to do is change the title. I think originally I set it to be Tunisia Economic Facts. We might also want it to say 2008 to 2018, whatever you want. And then I'm going to run the app. You can either hit the Run App button, or I'm pretty much always going to do the Command-Shift-Enter thing. So the only thing, you can see the only thing here that's changed is the title, because that's all I changed. This is all still going to work. So the first thing I wanted to build in the app, we're going to change the title. We're going to add a slider input to select a range of years. And we're going to build a line graph. I have it built here too, so you can see it. We're just going to build a line graph of this is the growth rate of the GDP, the real GDP over time. Also, I should have said this at the beginning, I am not an economist at all. So if I say something wrong about economics, please correct me. I don't know, I have no idea what I'm talking about. So you can see this is just a line graph. The growth rate, it looks like, is anywhere between -2 and 4. We're going to put that in our app. Save that. So right now there's a slider input. I'm going to clear that out. From the widget gallery, I can see that I'm going to want, I could just use a single slider and select just 1 year. I think I'm actually going to use a range though, so I can select a range of years just because it's a graph, and so I think it'll be better to have a range of years versus just one. A line graph with just 1 point kind of doesn't make sense. So as a result, I'm going to use a slider range. So let's go look at an example of this. In the UI, I can see that it's a slider input. So let's break this down as we type it. So we have a slider input. The first thing we need to give it is the ID. I think it's, yeah.